The Occult Affinity feels like the odd one out. All the other affinities feel much more straightforward in what they do. Heavy gives more strength scaling, Keen gives more dex scaling, Lightning adds lightning damage, Sacred adds holy damage, and none of them add the emotional damage that I received freshman year. But what exactly does the Occult Affinity do? On first glance, Occult seems to grant arcane scaling to infusible weapons. However, some of these weapons in-game have passive bleed buildup, and when Occult infused, the bleed buildup on the weapon will scale with your arcane stat. After farming 2 great knives from the little demi-humans by the Hermit Shack Site of Grace on Mount Gelmir, I upgraded both of them to 25 and gave them the Occult Affinity. Now, time for some quick arithmetic. At the 70 arcane I was running for this build, it put out 88 bleed buildup per knife. Since I was dual wielding them, all dual wield attacks have status buildup nerfed to 60%. This gives us 52.8 bleed buildup per hit. The 3 hits on every neutral L1 attack equates to a grand total of 158.4 bleed up per neutral L1. That's a pretty good amount. With these 2 knives, you're going to be utilizing that L1 button a lot through this playthrough. While the swipes are fast, I must offer up a word of caution. The animation length is longer than you think, especially for all those chained L1 attacks. I advise you stick mostly to single L1s and a quick R1 follow-up, especially for any fights that have a pretty fast pace. With you slashing the enemy so many times in a small window, you want to have talismans to complement your quick-cutting playstyle. The Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, Millicent's Prosthesis, and the Godskin Swaddling Cloth are all fine choices. These talismans can boost your attack rating on successive hits, boost your dexterity, and heal you as you attack the enemy. Because we are focusing on arcane scaling for this build, I would recommend most that Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, since it gives you just a bit more of a boost to attack rating on successive hits, meaning that even enemies highly resistant or immune to bleed buildup will expire efficiently. Stat-wise, I had 60 Vigor, 40 Endurance, and 70 Arcane. Because I started with a Samurai class, I already had 15 Dex, but please make sure you meet that 12 Dex requirement to wield the knives for this build. Bumping our Endurance all the way up to 40 is so we can wear at least a little bit of armor while still light rolling. I wore the Noble Armor chest piece, with the Carian Knight Greaves and Gauntlets. The extra mobility given to you by the light load lets you get out of danger faster, and more importantly, lets you roll right up to your enemy for the next flurry of attacks.